Hello everyone. Today I am going to implement this boat riding system where the player is able to ride a boat like this. Actually, this here I'm only working on the boat component, boat pawn. So as you can see, there is a ripple and it's floating on the PP ocean, which comes in the Unreal Engine 4.26 water system. So yeah, let's see how to do this today. And this episode is sponsored by this generous patron. Thank you very much for your support. Okay, so to make it easier for the people who haven't watched the previous videos in this series to follow, I'll do this in a new map. Let's create a new map. I don't need to save this, and I'll delete this one. Also, this is starting location. This part is not necessary, but to keep things simpler, I'll make the lights movable, so I don't have to bake the lights. Then first go to landscape, and yeah, before that, in order to use water, go to the plugins and enable water plugin. I have already enabled it, so for this I'm going to use the ocean. No, so I don't need the shallow water. Just enable this, and when you enable it, you will get a notification to restart if you haven't done so already. So go ahead and restart the engine. And also, when I enable this will automatically enable this landmass plugin as well, because the water system also use landmass. So yeah, if not, enable that too. Then go ahead and let's create a landscape. Under the modes, select landscape, and here make sure that you have enabled edit layers, because we need this to use ocean. Right, now create. Okay, then let's go back to select mode. I don't need this one. Okay, then let's sculpt this landscape a little bit, so we have some uneven area. Right, okay, so this is our simple island. Now go back to select mode, and here type water. You have all the water systems available, and I'm going to use water body ocean. Just drag and drop it here, and as you can see here, this is the coastline. Okay, so I'll again go back to landscape, make it a little larger. Okay, right, now here we have the coast as well. Right, now this is enough to test the boat. I'll again go back to select mode, and if I play the game here, I'll select game mode as game mode. I don't need any of the game modes, just need to see this in action. Okay, now let me save this. I'll save this as boat test. First, I have imported a boat model, a simple boat model, nothing special. If you don't have model, just use a cube, that's okay for testing. Right, now here in the blueprints folder, I'll create a new folder, boat. Here I'll create a new blueprint class using the type pawn. I'll name it boat. The reason to use the type pawn is because I need to use this as a I need to use this as a like a vehicle that player should be able to give input and control the board to basically ride the board. Right, now let's open this blueprint. Right, so here we don't really have anything. First let's add the board mesh as the default scene root, like this. Just drag and drop into the default scene root, so it will become the default scene root. Now let's drag and drop the board here, so it looks like this. And at the moment nothing happens. If I just play the game, you will see it just stays idle. It's not exactly floating, it's nothing basically happens. So even if I place it in the air, it won't fall. Right, now the next part is let's add a buoyancy component to this pawn. So here we have a couple of settings that we have to set under buoyancy data. So yeah, if you have actually, even I also don't have a clear idea about all of these things. So if you need example of the buoyant component, there is one. First you have to show plugin content. No, maybe engine content. Yeah, there is a easier way to get it. Just select the ocean, go to the detail panel and locate this water material, so it will show you the water content. And here under blueprints we have BP buoyancy example. If you just drag and drop one here, make sure it is above the water and play. Oh wait, it's on the board. It floats down like this. Okay, all right, so now similar to this, let's implement buoyancy. So let me open this. So here the static mesh is simulating physics. It has a mass of 50. So let's do the same to our board as well. Simulate physics, mass 100. I'm not sure, that would be too much, but let's see. So now if I simulate, you see the board simply moves down. Let me quickly check the collision of the board as well. Okay, that's fine for now, but when we make the character climb on this, we will have to modify the collisions, but let's look into that later. Now for the buoyancy component, here we have pontoons. So I think these are like the boundaries. Oh no, not really boundaries. They are sort of like buoyant components. Okay, let me just copy the same buoyant component into the board and modify it. That should be easier. Right, now we have the same settings as the buoyant example. Let me play and see if the board floats. It does, but it rotates and flip. Now let's modify these pontoons. So as I can see here, we have a pontoon location. Right, this is a relative location. So let's add a cube. I'll make it smaller. And change the pontoon locations with the help of this. So first pontoon location, let's try minus 50, no, plus 200. Let's check these, first check these back two corners, minus 300, okay, too much, that's fine. $75, right, I think this location will do. These two is like back left and back right, so I'll set minus 25, right, minus 250, minus 75, 0. This one minus 250, 75, 0. These two should be like front corners, so this one I'll make 250 minus 75, so 250 positive 75. Okay, now I'll remove this and let's test. Great, now boat is floating properly. And if we need it to submerge a little bit, I think we have to change the pontoon Z location, like minus 20 for all of them. Minus 20, no, maybe plus 20. If I make it minus, I think boat will float even above the water level. Let's try this. I think it's not enough. Or did I change it here? No. Right. Anyway, it's okay. So let's just get the board floating first and then let's look into details. Alright. And now let me add a spring arm to the boat, and I'll make the length 650 and attach a camera at the end of that. Let's add an offset maybe too much, like this, right, and also let's make it let's enable a little lag, so that it would be better. Alright, now I'll process this board. Okay, well, camera lag seems a little too hard. Right, I enabled the rotation lag as well. Okay, and now since we are using a third-person character based project, we already have movement inputs. Let me show you just in case. Here we have move right and move forward axis. Okay, so here let's implement move forward first, and let's add a force to the boat. If I use the move forward, the board should move forward basically. So let's get actor forward vector, and let's multiply this input with another multiplier. Let's say, let's first try something like 5000, because when we add a force, I don't think just a value between 0 and -1 and 1 should be enough to move the board, because this is we would need a fairly larger force. So let's multiply this forward direction vector with the result of this multiplication and give it as the force direction. Right. Also I'll make it a acceleration change, so a mass will have no effect. Right, let's see. Yeah, it is moving. It doesn't have ripples, but it is moving. Okay, now we need to implement rotation. So for that in the event tick, let's get the move right action event as well, and you know what, maybe we don't need two events. We can get the move right also, sorry, like this, move right. Oh no, I think it's better to keep the same format. Let me promote this to a macro. Add movement force. Move right. Okay. Then this is the magnitude, and the direction is at right vector. Right, now if I press D, board should move sideways. If I press A, board should move to the left, and SD forward and backward. Right, now I'll implement a way to orient the board towards the moment. Get velocity. Let's see if this is working. And from the velocity we can get rotation from x vector. Right, now here I am only interested in the yaw value, but wait, combine, love, let's love the rotator. That means I'm gonna change the current rotation of the actor. Get actor rotation to this new rotation with the alpha value, so that I will get a smooth rotation towards the direction of the moment. Then set actor rotation like this. Here also I only need to change the yaw. Other two, pitch and roll, should remain whatever the value they already have. And as for the other components of the rotation, let me break this. Break rotator and connect them as it is. Right, let's see. Wait, initial value seems too fast. Oh no, it's alright. Okay, now you see boat can move in the water. Great. It looks like a motorboat, but actually it should be a boat with a paddle, with the rowing mechanism for the character, but we will look into those details later on. Right, actually what I'm planning is my character should be able to uh, swim or go to the boat and then climb on the boat, then only the boat should character should row and boat should start moving. That's the plan as I go forward with the system. And of course, yeah, since this is a survival game, I'm hoping to implement a crafting or building a boat mechanism as well with wood collected. Right, now as the next step, let's try to add a simple ripple to the boat. So for that, actually there is also another example. It's called BP, fluid impulse repeating. So here if you open up this, you see this use BP fluid simulation class. Oh, I think we have to have one of these classes in the scene. So let me drag and drop BP fluid sim here. Let's see what we have here. Oh, nothing. It's for debugging. I don't know. Yeah, let's see now. Let's drag and drop this fluid impulse repeating and let me simulate and see if we get anything. Not really. So I did a bit of Google search and I found out that there should be a missing texture reference in this material, which is in underwater content, fluid simulation, materials simulation, and M fluid sim 1. So there, yeah, when I just check it, we have exactly that missing texture. So we have to assign form RT, render target, here. Then it works. See, I have put both fluid impulse repeating and BP dynamic force skeletal mesh example as well, which is also in here, this one. So when I simulate, oh wait, did I apply this? Yeah. Oh, it's not working again. Yeah, actually it's not working in simulation, it's working only on play mode. So you can see here we have the ripples. So if you open, let me open up one of these ripples and see how it is working. Right, so in the begin play we have these parts. This is for a skeletal mesh, so I don't think this would work for the boat. So let's check this fluid impulse repeating. This should work. Okay, so here we first need to get in the begin play need to get a reference to the fluid sim object. So let's copy that in here. And here what it does is in every 4 seconds it adds a ripple. So let me just copy this part also into the board, but instead of every n seconds and every 4 seconds, let's make it much shorter. Right, now we will have to create the variables for this one and for the impulse settings and the sim. Right, impulse settings, what are the settings we have here, what are the values? Let's see if it is similar to the example. Yeah, it is. Okay, let's keep the default settings, and for the board time step it is I'll make it 1. Well, actually that's too large, but also I can't see it properly because my camera is too close. Let me make it longer. Okay, that height is too much. I should be able to modify the impulse settings. Under impulse settings, force, what should I let's change the force strength to like 10 and world position well instead of actor location, let's give this location which is behind the board. So let's add a scene component and move it back here. I'll call it ripple point and get world location and use that. So for the time step, I think this should be much smaller, like 0.2 seconds or point. Let's see. Oh, still not enough. Yeah, it should be much faster. See, that's better. Okay. Oh, what's that mesh I'm seeing? Oh, I think that's the simulation mesh. It looks ugly actually, but we will see how to fix that in a later episode. Alright, so for now I'm gonna stop this episode right here, and later on let's see how to make it work with the character. Right, so thanks for watching. As always, project files will be available for the download through the Patreon page. Link would be in the description below, and if you like to support my work, you can get the membership of the Patreon club. Thanks for watching. See you in another episode. Goodbye.